Hey guys, what's going on? It's David Beach Club. How you guys doing today? Hope you're doing well. I'm going to do a little midday TA. Midday TA. I'm going to try to make that a new segment from now on. Maybe do a little 5 to 10 minute video on my lunch breaks while I'm at work. Do midday TA. It's going to be, you're going to have a weird screen resolution on this because I'm going to do it from my iPad. So it's not going to be 16 by 9, which is kind of annoying, but you know, it is what it is. So all that matters is that you guys get the message that I'm putting out. All right. So first I want to recognize the fact that we have this trend line here that has been broken. So this could be a cause for concern for the bulls, of course, because you break a trend line. If we come back up and we test this, bearishly test this trend line and then roll over, well then that's what I would expect. Probably see some consolidation in here, and then we'll probably finally get the pullback that I've been saying that we probably need before we can move higher. I was hoping that we could break up above the local macro high, but history shows us that this doesn't typically happen. We typically do come up short at the bottoms, and we ABC down here. You know, even Blockchain Backers said it on his channel. We could see that ABC down in here, come back, retest the lows. I even said it on Twitter. I said, I don't believe the rally is over. Now, just when I say I don't believe the rally is over, that doesn't mean I think this is just going to keep going up, and just keep going. I mean that as far as the bottom is concerned, I don't believe we're setting new lows, which means the bull rally is not over. Now, a smaller rally within the macro rally, that could be over. So we could see a pullback finally come down, and we finally test those lows. Maybe even stop at this high value node, or this high volume node. My bad. Right here on the VRVP, the visible range volume profile, which shows you where all the orders or more than most volume was at certain price levels. So a pullback to 19K wouldn't be surprising, and it also would be healthy. It would be really good, actually. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Now, there's still people calling for new lows, and that's fine, and I understand it. But, I say it on Twitter often and in the Discord. By the way, none of this is financial advice. If you like what you see, like, subscribe, all that good jazz. But most importantly, join the Discord. Invite link in the description box. So, as far as setting new lows, let's go ahead and zoom out real quick. Let's go to the weekly chart. So, now there is something that I noticed on the weekly chart that had never happened before. I'll probably have to go to a different Bitcoin chart to show you this. So let's go to Bitcoin. Let's go to the index chart. Now I'm going to throw on this EMA ribbon, and it's going to have I believe the yellow is the 12. We got the 12, the 50 is the blue, and the 200 is the red. And this is on the weekly. So kind of ignore the yellow for right now. Let's just go ahead and get it off of the screen. I want to get rid of the yellow, which is the 12, yeah. And this is something that has never happened before in Bitcoin. And that is the 200 weekly and the 500 weekly crossing each other. Now, we don't have a whole ton of history to go through, But as far as Bitcoin's history, it has literally never, ever happened. If it would have happened, it might have happened back here somewhere. So that's another thing that I could see, is that, I thought we could maybe get a nice little run up like this. And then now it's going to be, in a greater length of time, just because of, how big the Bitcoin market is now. But I thought we could get a nice rise up, get a nice little retrace, and then pull back, and then off and away we go. But that may not be the case. Now, when I'm looking at this, I've got to say to myself, what can I do to see what can I do to see how this might happen, in other markets? Well, what I do is I'll just go to my watch list. I'll scroll down. I'll go to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. We're going to look at that chart. We're going to see if the 50 has ever crossed the 200 on the weekly. So we're going to come back. We're going to go back. We're going to go back. There it is right there. The last time that it happened was right in the middle of the great financial crisis, the Great Recession of 2008. These lines crossed, and that led to the last capitulation before the rebound. Is that what we are going to see with Bitcoin? So we've got price come down to the 200, come up, meet resistance. It did poke above it, tried to build support on top of it, failed, came down, fell below the 200, came up, and the 200 acted as the final resistance, and the market just plummeted. So we can come back over here. We can see where the 50 crossed the EMA here, crossed the 200 EMA here. And again, we had one more final capitulation after that crossed, and then we had a correction, and then we moved on out. So let's go back even further. We do have a lot of data to look at on this. So this period of time right here was when the US and the world went off of the gold standard. So this was just a kind of a little bit of chaos up in here, okay? So it's a little bit of chaos. We're not going to count that because that's just a consolidation range in general. I care more about what happens at the tops of markets when these two cross, and that is there seems to be a dump almost every single time. Let's see, we got a top up here. Same thing happened, we fell through. Now this one did fall all the way through and then meet resistance at the 50 and then fall back through and then come back up and meet resistance at the 200 and then fall back through. But once these crossed, you could tell that that was it. That was the end, and things just kept falling. Now this is the Great Depression. Now this chart is kind of scary because if you look at it like this, right? Just look at it, okay? We've got this area here, which is not insignificant. So we got these two bumps right here inside this consolidation range, and then we have a breakout, right? So let's go ahead and move on over. If I can, how do I turn this thing off? There we go. Move on over, and now we're looking at something kind of similar. So we have the two bumps, and then we have the run up. Now, you can quickly see how the Dow Jones has not, the 50 EMA has not surpassed the 200 EMA on the Dow Jones. But we did break the 50. We bounced off the 200. We did break the 200 and then come up, and now we're sitting on top of the 50. Sitting on top of it. Where did we do that? We did that right here, where we broke the 200 and the 50, and we came back, sat on top of the 50, and then we crashed even more, came back up, and then crashed even more. This is 2000, 2001. We had right September right here. This dip right here, that's 9/11. So almost every single dip on the larger markets that have been around for decades, almost every single event or dip, like major dip, was a major global event. Whether it's the Great Depression, a war, a pandemic, whatever it is, almost all of them were some kind of event. This one right here, this was C19, okay? So, right now we're just trying to see if the Dow Jones is going to catch its footing and then move back up. Now, without the Dow Jones, Bitcoin probably doesn't. Without the Dow Jones going into a new bull run, it is very unlikely that Bitcoin goes into a new bull run. And with the macroeconomics being what they are, it is not exactly prime for investing. Here's the thing. Ever since I got into crypto, I have been told that to be greedy when others are fearful and to be fearful when others are greedy. But the same people that have been telling me this seems like they're taking the opposite stance, which is fine. People want lower prices, and you know what? They might get them. You look at this chart, it's easy to see how we might go lower, especially when we have these candles right up to here. Now this one I wouldn't count that one, but this one right here, this is definitely a fair value gap. This is a fair value gap because this candle was never revisited, and there was space between it and the next candle. So fair value gap on this candle down here at about 9,000 for the low, and I wouldn't call that fair value gap. Maybe this one right here at about 5,800. And then there's a little bit left on this candle, somewhere in here around between 7 and 8K. So people that say we're going lower, they could be valid. They could absolutely be valid. My thinking is, and the reason why I'm bullish has almost nothing to do with the charts. As crazy as that sounds, has almost nothing to do with the charts, and has everything to do with market sentiment. The sentiment is skeptical. The sentiment is disbelief. There's a few bulls out there. There's a few moon boys. But there's not a lot of people calling for just like absolute moon, or, the number one thing that I'm seeing right now is just bull trap, bull trap, bull trap, bull trap. But if I keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again, it almost never is. That's almost never the case. That almost is never what happens. So if everybody's saying bull trap, what would make me believe that it's going to be a bull trap when that almost never happens? When sentiment is just across the board almost the exact same, going contrarian against that typically benefits you. So I don't know, but seeing price come down here, reclaim some of this candle right here on the weekly before it continues to, its march up, wouldn't be surprising. New lows wouldn't be surprising, but I just feel like if everybody wants it, they're not going to get it. So also another interesting thing, and you might have noticed it already, but that 200 and the 50 EMA on the KuCoin chart have not crossed. Now, this doesn't have all the same data that the index chart does, so that could be the case. So if we go to Bitstamp and see one that has all of the data, well, we do have a cross. So And if we go, let's just pick out another one. Let's see, BTC, USDT perps. Well, there's not going to be enough data there. Oh, look at that. We did break that trend line right there. But trend lines, let's not get into those. But where was I going? Oh, yeah. BTC USDT. Let's go to Binance. Let's just see the spot on Binance. Has not crossed. What is another older exchange? Let's do Kraken. Bitcoin, USD, Kraken. That's an older one. Cross. The ones that have the more history, the 50 and the 200 have crossed, and as it's happening, we are getting our pullback. So, what does that tell us? It tells us absolutely nothing. No, I'm kidding. It tells us that this level up here is some pretty heavy resistance, and I think I shared that in my next video, or in my last video, or one of my shorts, that I do expect heavy resistance in this area. Now, once we break it, get above it, and hopefully come back down, establish support, then we can move on and move up and have fun. Have a lot of fun, as the bull market would be on. Now, who knows what's going to happen next? But I do know one thing, and that is that currently, let's take a look at the daily. Currently, we're down. Today's daily candle is already taken back all of yesterday's daily candle. Typically not what you want to see if you're bullish. Now, pulling back down to the 200 daily before moving on, that's a possibility as well. Now, what I would like to see, at least on the daily, is for the 50 EMA to cross that 200 EMA. Now, that would be pretty bullish, at least in the midterm. So that's what I've got my eyes on. Hopefully later today I can get on the computer and go into more detail. But for now, I said these videos were going to be 5 to 10 minutes. I'm pretty sure I've ran over that. So, but that's cool. Yeah. That's just my thoughts as of right now. I'm just watching these levels. Let me go back to my chart so I can put my levels back on here. So, yeah, I'm just watching these levels, and I would really like to see. I wouldn't mind seeing a pullback. Now, I don't know. I wouldn't expect this to look like this at all. It would probably start. Maybe we start making the move down before the Fed meeting, or maybe it starts trying to hype us up, give us a little bit of premature excitement, and then it rolls over on the FOMC. I don't know. The way sentiment is, it just feels like we should go up simply because that's the contrarian viewpoint. But just because that's a contrarian doesn't mean it's gonna come to fruition, right? So these are just the levels that I'm watching. This box here, this box here, I think we'll just slide right through those, fill those orders up, maybe a little bit of chop, just to make sure we're really filling those orders and not just falling right through it again. Although I wouldn't mind falling right through it again, because if we just fall right through them, then that means we can easily work our way back up. So there's that too. So, but yeah, that's just my general thoughts of this midday update. And let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe and that notification bell to be notified for when I create new content and when I go live. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. I love you all so much. Thank you for being part of the Beach Club. And thank you if you are new and you subscribe. Thank you for joining the Beach Club. And don't forget to join the Discord. We have some excellent traders in the Discord that can help you learn how to trade, and including myself, We are all here to help each other out. It's not financial advice. It is purely education. I typically don't try to give signals. It's just too risky. It's other people's money, so I don't really like giving signals like that. I could tell you how my general sentiment of how I'm feeling, and I can show you what I'm looking at in the charts. I can show you, how I would trade or how I would take a certain trade or something like that. But, I'm not in my Discord just giving signals. So if that's what you're looking for, I'm sorry. It's more for education. It's more for teaching people how to trade on their own, which is what I would prefer. I prefer for people to learn how to trade and do it on their own. But anyway, that's going to be it for me. Let's hope, we'll just see what happens. Okay, guys, let me know, like I said, in the comment section down below. And that's going to be it for this one. Love you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.